Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another video on my channel HAIRLICIOUSLY. If you guys are new to the channel, please make sure to subscribe so that you guys are updated on hair loss and hair transplant topics, as well as updates on current hair loss treatments in the pipelines. Visit my website at HAIRLICIOUSLY.com to purchase our microneedling device, which is scientifically proven to stimulate hair growth, my low-level laser therapy cap, DHT blocking shampoo, conditioner, and serum, hair growth vitamins, and a few other products that help those who are losing hair. So, some of you guys are aware that I will be going to Istanbul, Turkey in just 2 days with Justin, who was the lucky winner for the free hair transplant back in January. And we will be traveling together to get his procedure done by Dr. Acar at Cosmedica. And I'm going to be documenting his hair transplant journey from start to finish, as well as provide you guys with monthly updates on his progression. There's also going to be a lot of good content, so definitely stay tuned for that. I'm super excited to visit Turkey finally. And before we head over to Istanbul, Turkey, I was able to connect with Justin via Skype to talk about his hair loss journey, about the clinic, and just our initial thoughts on Turkey in general. So feel free to watch the following video, and also let me know if you have visited Turkey yourself and have any recommendations as far as places to go eat, to go sightseeing, things like that.
Yeah, man, what's going on?
What's going on, dude? Can you see me and hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, so, I mean, you are the lucky winner for Cosmedica's free hair transplant giveaway.
Dude, I can't believe that.
Yeah, I know. It's back in like January when I had the whole drawing and everything, and I notified you. Yeah, and it's time to go to Turkey in like what, 4 days?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It is crazy, dude. I never imagined that I would be like, talking to you or like going on a trip with you, because I started watching your channel in like 2018, I think it was.
Yeah.
I watched you talk about your first hair transplant, and then I kind of went on the journey with you for your second hair transplant in 2019, I think. And yeah, and now a few years later, here I am. I never imagined I'd be getting one this early.
Initially, I created a channel so I can help people out, people who are suffering from hair loss. And like I've been working with Dr. Acar for probably a little over a year now. The work that they do is incredible, like naturalness, good density, barely any like visible scars. And I think that once you do get your hair transplant done, a year from now on, you're gonna look like a different person.
Exactly, dude. That's what I've seen from like their website, how like they like to do like a lot of the things that you talk about, like putting the single or the smaller grafts in the very front of the hairline to make it more natural, and also kind of like I don't know what you call it. It's like make it not so it's like super straight, but like kind of
like at an angle.
It's like kind of like sparsely put them, like not exactly straight, but like put some grafts like slightly lower down, like more so it's more natural.
Almost kind of like a zigzag pattern.
Yeah.
Based on the results that I've seen, they look phenomenal. Like I wouldn't vouch for a clinic that I wouldn't go there myself. And I'm pretty sure like if I ever need a third hair transplant, I'm most definitely going to go to Cosmedica. So right. I know that you're going to be in good hands. It's your first time going to Turkey, right?
It is.
Yeah. Yes. So how do you feel? Are you like nervous? Are you scared? Because there's that stigma where a lot of people, they think about Turkey, it borders like Syria, Iraq, and they're a little bit hesitant. Are you okay? Like, because I'm pretty sure, like, I'm nervous too, just because I'm going to a country that I've never been to. But like, how do you feel? Like, are you 100% okay with it? Like,
I'm not nervous about that. It'll probably, maybe it'll hit me.
Yeah.
I know earlier this year we had the Russia began to attack Ukraine, and so I was like, I did a little research, and I was like, which countries are part of NATO, I think it is. Yeah. And so I wanted to make sure we were like in a safe country. And so as far as I can tell, Turkey is part of NATO, and it looks like should be safe. So
yeah, it's a pretty safe city, especially Istanbul. There's a lot of tourism going on, especially medical tourism, for hair transplants, like the #1 destination. So it's pretty safe. And I know that you're staying only for like 4 days, right? In Turkey.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully, I don't know if you're going to be able to, but maybe we can check out Istanbul, check out, do some sightseeing. I'm sure like once we get to the airport, there's going to be a bunch of people just kind of like, with all those bandages or the gauze behind their, the donor areas. I've seen clips where like people are at the airport in Istanbul and they're like a dime a dozen. There's like all these people who have had their hair transplants just waiting to go back. Because, I mean, technically you only need like 3-4 days if you're just
Right.
going for a hair transplant. Like you don't need to stay there for like 2 weeks or anything like that. All of the recovery is done at home. It's not like you need to go see a doctor after. Well, I mean, you do need to see one probably a couple of days after, just for making sure the grafts are going to be implanted properly and for like washing the scalp, going over like the post-op stuff. But yeah, 4 days should be more than enough. I just kind of wish that you were there a little bit longer, so that we can probably check out Istanbul. But we're still going there. it's finally happening.
I'm excited to check it out for the time that I'm there. Check out the food.
Tell me a little bit like your hair loss journey, like your personal experience. Like when did you start noticing your hair loss? Do you have any running in your family? How did it affect you when you're losing your hair? Just kind of things like that.
For sure, for sure. So honestly, I think I'm kind of in a similar boat as you, if I remember correctly. I think I watched a few years ago, you explained your journey before your hair transplant as well. And that is like, ever since I noticed in high school, I kind of had like temporal points that kind of went up higher than a bunch of other people. And so if I remember correctly, I believe I was like a Norwood 3 in high school, kind of where I am right now. Over the past several years, I haven't, unless it's crept very slowly, slightly more, I don't think I've noticed any really significant hair loss in the past several years. Just going back all the way to high school, I would say I believe that I was in Norwood 3 and still am, maybe a little bit slightly worse than a Norwood 3. I think you said you used to be a Norwood 3. I think I might be have slightly more of a receded hairline than you had. I know right now it doesn't look extremely like the worst situation. My hair is like maybe an inch, maybe a slightly longer than an inch, and it kind of naturally covers up in the temporal points. If I were to like lift up, you would see it kind of like goes back like another whole inch up there.
Just by looking at your hair, like it's not even that bad, and it looks like you have like a really good coarse donor hair, which will definitely add in more density. Because there's people who have like really sparse hair, and when they end up getting a hair transplant, their results aren't going to be as good as somebody who actually has somewhat adequate density with better hair characteristics. So just by looking at yours, I think it's going to be pretty good. So like, what are you were you on any like hair loss medication, or are you currently taking anything?
I have not taken any hair loss medication ever. Before I do that, okay, because my dad has a lot of thinning on the top of his head and the crown, and pretty much the same situation with both of my granddads. So I think that's likely the situation I could go into. And I think my dad began to thin a bunch on the top of his head, maybe in his young to mid 30s. And so I'm 26 right now. So I think I really want to try to get an edge and just be really prepared for when that begins to attack. And before then, I would try to look for like the most natural remedies, like using the microneedling pen and maybe get a low laser therapy cap and just use those up until it really starts to attack. Then maybe switch over to some medication.
There are people who are, obviously hesitant anytime you're trying to use synthetic drugs that you're trying to use to treat hair loss. But the majority of people are not going to experience any adverse side effects. It's just the minority of people. And if you do plan on taking something like finasteride later down the road, which I would recommend, you can also look into kind of like their topical version, which apparently is less systemic, right? And with fewer side effects. So I think that would be a great arsenal for you to include later down the road. And like I said, there's microneedling, there's minoxidil. There's a lot of different options depending on what your risk tolerance is. Some people like there's a small minority of people who are able to get away without having to resort to any medication. But at the very least, I would highly recommend looking into like topical finasteride. It's not going to give you as much of a side effect as it does with oral, because that gets metabolized by the liver. So I mean, there's options, and anytime you get a hair transplant, you always have to worry about the areas behind it, like native areas, because those are still going to be prone to hair loss. And for the most part, all of the grafts that would be implanted, hopefully are going to be extracted from the DHT resistant area. So you don't necessarily have to worry too much about that. And I mean, you have a pretty good beard too, man. Like I wouldn't qualify for like a body hair transplant because I don't have any body hair. But like for you, like if you, let's say you deplete your donor area, your scalp donor area, like Turkey is known to do a lot of body hair transplants, including Cosmedica. So that's another option for you if you, God forbid that you still continue to lose hair, and you run out of donor area, you can use your beard hair, which it looks pretty good, man.
I would try to stay away from. Thanks.
Yeah.
I would try to stay away from the beard hair because it's like, I don't know, it's like coarser, more curly. I'm not sure if it would like blend well with my head hairs.
Yeah, I mean, normally they wouldn't advise that you put beard hair into the frontal portion of the hairline because it's not going to look natural, right? They're a lot more coarse and curly. They're used more so like behind kind of like the mid scalp and the crown areas to reinforce density. So, I mean, if those areas are ever going to be a concern, you always have a backup, which not a lot of people are privileged to have that extra source of donor area. If anything were to happen, then you always have a backup. I know we spoke to Borak and Umut, they're part of staffing with Cosmedica. Did they kind of go over like the steps, like what you're going to be doing on day 1 all the way up to like day 4?
Oh, yes, they did. Yes,
okay.
I have that. The first day, I'm not really doing anything, just arriving. Second day is, first they take the blood test, and then Dr. Acar draws on the hairline, and then we do the surgery that day. And then third day is like a checkup, and I think we might do a wash on that day. And then remove the remove the bandages. And the fourth day is departure day after maybe a checkup or something.
Yeah, you're flying back on day 4, right? Right after the final like post-op checkup and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Are you going straight to work right after like your procedure, or are you like teleworking? Like, because I know some people, they want to like disguise the fact that they've had a hair transplant. Like, I don't know how, like, are your parents, do they know that you're getting a hair transplant, like your friends and everything, or have you been like very like secretive and you're trying to not tell anyone? Because there's a lot of people like that. There's people that don't want to say anything, and they just go there, get their hair transplant. They wear a beanie or something to cover up their hair. With the whole pandemic, they've been teleworking, so it's like a great opportunity for them to get it done without anyone noticing.
Yeah. Normally with my personality, I would expect me to be more secretive, but I don't know. I haven't really cared that much. I've told siblings, and they're really happy for me, and they're really excited to see what happens. They haven't been following this, and like I've been following your channel for several years. They haven't really, they're not really knowledgeable about all this stuff yet, but they're excited to see what happens. My parents, I haven't told them, just cause I don't know. I don't want to hear a bunch of doubting seeds,
Oh, so they don't know that you're from Turkey?
No.
No. I mean, they probably wouldn't know since you're only staying there for like 4 days. It's just you come in and get it done, and you're just.
Well, you know what? They might. I don't know. They might know because my siblings might have told them. That's usually how that works. And then for work, am I going to work right after? I'm going to work on June 2nd, so just a little over 2 weeks after I get the procedure. Okay. And I know some people have redness. I can't remember how long, maybe up to a month after the surgery. So depending on the redness, I'm not embarrassed to tell people that I've had a hair transplant. But if there's still redness at that time, I'm gonna look for hats and stuff just because it's a distraction and people are gonna be like, whoa, what's that? And they, they're other people just aren't familiar with, this process, and it could just be a distraction. So if I still have redness, and I know I'll have like a bunch of awkward stages, like maybe after a month and a half or so, the transplanted hairs will like reset their cycle and fall out. So it depends on like the phases that I'm going through. I might try to put on beanie just so I can, stay focused on work, and it's not a distraction to my colleagues or anything.
The redness, I mean, you have 2 weeks off, so it should definitely subside, and it depends on each person. Like for me, I think the redness lasted for like 3 months. Like it was visibly there. Yeah. So I mean, it wasn't bad, but then if people were to see my hair, like they'd be like, oh, like this guy did something to his hair, or he got sunburned or something. But for other people, like, I guess the more darker complexioned you are, it's not going to be as noticeable. But for someone
I'm pretty light complexion.
Yeah. So I mean, it might still show after 2 weeks. But the thing is, like Cosmedica, they use this thing called the Sapphire DHI method, which is supposed to be less invasive, which means that it's going to heal up a lot quicker. So hopefully that's going to help with the healing process. But after that, I mean, you're going to have to go through like that whole ugly duckling phase, especially during like you're probably around like month and a half to 2 months, where all of the implanted hair is going to fall out. And then like 3 to 4 months after your hair transplant, it's going to start sprouting out. And that's when you can kind of get your hair cut, and you're actually going to start looking like your hair's it's going to start looking pretty good. And I'm pretty sure like 1 year's time from now, after your hair transplant, you're going to be you're going to be so happy, man. Like your self-confidence is going to boost up. There's going to be so many ways that you can style your hair. The biggest thing for me was like just being able to expose my hairline and just put it up.
I know.
Like
I know. I remember you mentioning like the wind. Like, okay, so bro, like wind is supposed to feel nice, right? It feels nice, but it's like because my hair because my hair naturally kind of like covers up like the temporal regions, and so I kind of go with that. And I'm like, okay, well, let's kind of keep it covered up so it doesn't look as bad. And so, but then when there's like a gust of wind, it's just like it can be very infuriating.
You gotta go with the current of the wind. You can't go against it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I mean, same thing with like, like when you're swimming and then like you expose your hairline. Like after I got my hair transplant, yeah, I mean, doing it was like, it was such a relief, man. Just being able to show it and be like, hey, I'm not receding anymore. It's a good feeling.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
It's a really good feeling. I'm completely confident that you're going to be really happy with the result. And we're going to be documenting your month-to-month progress, just so that anyone who might be interested in getting a hair transplant can take a look and see the transformation and the progression of, from the beginning to the end. And hopefully, it'll help those who are looking into getting a hair transplant to really pull that trigger and go with it, because, like you said, it's going to be a life changer. You're never going to regret this. Like, and there's no other better way to get more density than through a hair transplant. There are certain medications which will help, and which will help stabilize hair loss, but I think the best way for you to actually add in density and reestablish the hairline that you want, or something that's more suited for, your face, and then depending on your progression of hair loss, you can't beat a hair transplant. So yeah, man, I'm really happy for you, and I guess I'll be seeing you on Sunday. I think you're getting there a couple hours ahead before I get there.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're getting there in the afternoon, right?
Yeah, I think so. It was like something like, I think it was like around 1300 Istanbul time.
Yeah, I'll probably be there like around 1500. So I don't know how they're gonna work out the whole transportation stuff, but apparently someone is supposed to be there to pick us up and then take us to the hotel, and then we can rest. I think we're gonna be at the same hotel. So maybe so maybe
there's a new hotel they mentioned.
Yeah, 5-star. Yeah, 5-star hotel. Yeah. And the good thing about like Cosmedica and just clinics in Turkey in general, when it comes to like their medical tourism, and also their government, they allow for the clinics to provide accommodations. Like when I was in South Korea, when I got my hair transplant, their regulation, they don't allow the clinics to choose the accommodations for their patients. So that's something that, it's not that difficult finding like an Airbnb or like a hotel, but it just makes it easier, the whole process.
Oh yeah.
They pick you up, they drop you off at the hotel. It's a lot cheaper. And it's an easy process. So yeah, man, I'm really excited.
I can already tell it's going to be an easy process. I saw like a bunch of their reviews, people talking about how nice like the hotel was, how nice the facility was, the people at Cosmedica Clinic.
Yeah.
I'm super excited. They said I got the deluxe DHI Sapphire package, I believe it's called. So I get to have my incisions done by Dr. Acar, and so really excited about that.
Yeah, and you have staff who've been there for years, and they actually were specifically handpicked by Dr. Acar based on their experience.
For sure.
So you're definitely going to be in good hands.
Like even though
Mhm.
you and Cosmedica put this together, like I wouldn't go to any clinic even if it were free. I wouldn't go to any clinic in Turkey even if it were free. This is a once in a lifetime procedure, and so I really have a lot of confidence in Dr. Acar and his team, and he has a lot of credentials to,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to meeting you and also walking through this journey for your hair transplant. Can't wait to see you.
Can't wait to see you, brother.
Yeah, a few days, man.
I know,
All right,
man.
other questions, concerns, anything you want to address?
Dude, I don't think so. I think I got it.
I mean, once we get to the clinic, I'm sure you're gonna have some questions.
For sure.
But yeah, man, until then, safe travels. And you have my contact information. I have yours. So once we get there, the party's on.
Sounds good. Hey, thank you so much.
All right, Justin. It was good talking to you, man.
Dude.
Yeah.
Ginormous thank you to you for putting this together with Cosmedica, bro.
And you're lucky, man. You're the lucky one.
I know.
And
bro.
I'm excited to walk this walk with you, and it's definitely going to change your life. It's going to be a huge transformation. And like I said, a year from now on, you're gonna just love all that hair that you have.
I know, man.
All right, Justin, dude. It was good talking to you, man. I'll see you soon.
All right, good talking to you. See you in Turkey.
All right, bye. Take care.
Anyway, guys, that wraps up this video. I am super hyped to finally be able to visit Turkey as well as Cosmedica. Hopefully, through Justin's hair transplant journey, you guys will be able to experience it together and perhaps bring on board some of those who have either been hesitant or contemplating getting a hair transplant in Turkey. I know that it's going to be incredible. We're going to have a lot of fun. I will also be traveling to different cities in Turkey, Antalya, Cappadocia, and we'll be vlogging, so stay tuned for that. But thanks for everything, guys. Thanks for all of your support, and I will catch you guys when I am in Turkey. Take care.